Well,
Okay.
you want to talk a little more baseball first before we go?
No, better not. Better not. Just stick to what I know, or what I think I know.
So you have all this experience last year, and you do have some this year, but it's a little different, isn't it?
Totally different. You know, sitting here last year, I mean, everybody had concerns last year, right? I mean, even me, we all do. But this year, you come back and you lose all that experience. It's irreplaceable. No matter, you can't sugarcoat it. You can't replace it. You can't coach it. And that's something that we had. Nobody knew if we were going to be good or bad, but we had a chance at some things to be good because we knew we had the experience. Not as much this year, but a lot of guys. And even though you know most people are going to look at the preseason depth chart and just count how many starters are coming back, and based all their bold predictions on that. Well, we got a lot of guys that played a lot of ball last year, but weren't considered a starter coming back. That's the advantage of playing a lot of guys during the season. It helps you out that following year when you lose a lot. That being said, though, there's a lot of holes experience-wise that nobody's going to know until we line up again the opener exactly what they're going to do on game day, and that's not very reassuring. That's an uneasy feeling.
If there's anything you can hang your hat on to a degree, would it be the guys up front? I mean, where you really want to be good, you should be pretty good?
Well, I want to be good everywhere, but if you had to single out, all right, what's some positives, Coach? There's not many in my mind right now. By game week, we'll feel a bit better. But, yeah, those guys, we got a number of guys that have played up front. We had a good rotation last year. I think at least 6 guys, maybe 1 or 2 off there, but have played a lot of ball. And, you know, and I'll flat out tell them when camp starts, expectations of you guys are high. And we need you to come through. You got to play even better than what you think you are, and you've got to be productive. You got to be sound. You got to be leaders out there, and because experience-wise, you are the strength of what we're doing.
In that case, then, how much better can you feel when you have a guy, say like James Castleman, and he's not the only one, but you kind of start with him because when you mention leadership qualities, he appears to have had those and has been probably a little bit of a leader up to this point.
He is, and a lot of that just comes by you earn that. You earn that in the locker room. That's not something that's given. A coach can put you on the front of the depth chart, but those guys know, and James has earned it. He's proven to be tough physically, knows how to practice, and when he speaks, they listen. So I'll lean on James a lot in camp to, hey, when it gets tough out there, and somebody starts griping in that locker room, they'll say that's the way we do things around here. That's how we win. So get on board, and you want that coming from the players, not from the coaches.
Ryan moves in the middle, and he's the guy that the rest of the linebackers are going to have to listen to, right?
Yeah, Ryan has got that intangible quality about him. He had it in high school too. Ryan Simmons isn't afraid to lose a friend in the locker room because he expects to play great defense. Invaluable. So we had a few talks after the bowl game last year about, you know, the expectations for him, and I had no doubt in my mind he was going to step up, and he did in the off season, he did in spring, he's done it in the last couple of months out there on the field, and same deal. Ryan's played a lot. His expectations of how you practice are pretty high, and there's a lot he ruffles some feathers. I love it, and but you got to have guys like that. So Ryan's he's been a champion as far as that goes so far.
I talked to him the other day, and it sounds like he's really up for being the guy that makes the calls and kind of is the hub of the defense.
You know, he's got to be. We've got no other choice. It's not like we've got a lot of others right now. And but he's accepted that. He wants that role. A lot of guys, they kind of spit that out, but not him. He wants that role, and I'm glad. I mean, it's the timing couldn't be more perfect for him to be that guy. And there's so much of what we do on our side of the ball is chemistry and toughness and togetherness and accountability, collective accountability, and Ryan understands those things. It's not so much just pure talent, but there's a lot of intangibles you have to consistently, you know, be good on our side of the ball and get off the field.
You wake up every day knocking on wood, crossing fingers that nothing bad happens at linebacker. I mean, you guys have taken some hits there.
Well, if I had that in me, it isn't working over the last last few months. Yeah, I mean, you kind of go with the things you can't control. You just can't worry about it. It's the truth. And when we start next Thursday, those guys that jog out there to go through the drill work and be ready for practice one, those are the guys that we're working with, and those are the guys that we're going to expect to, to do things right and to produce for us.
For the things you can control, I mean, when you look at a little more inexperience on the roster, for you personally, how has that changed maybe year by year, this year compared to last year?
Every year's got, it's like its own entity. I don't like to compare. It really doesn't matter. People try to compare, and that's fine. I mean, that's entertainment. But the world I live in, it's with what we have to work with. What's the heartbeat of what we have? I'm worried about next Thursday's practice, of having everybody on the same page as to how we're going to win that day. If you had to say anything was different, we got a lot of guys that maybe don't understand that right now. So those camp days, those tough camp days that we're going to have, and we're going to throw at them, there'll be a lot of growing up, and a big part of our success will be the maturity level that's forged in those days, not by what somebody says, not by but what's earned and forged in those days of what we put them through and how they respond to adversity, and that's where the toughness in your team has to come out.
Does it help with inexperience that they see that first game on the schedule and they know they have to be maybe to a certain level beyond of what they thought they might have to be?
Yeah, but that doesn't hurt. I mean, I think you insult them if you try to say, it's just another opponent. I'm not going to do that. They're smart. But you use that as a coach. You use whatever you can to help motivate them, because you're going to need that about practice number 10, 11, 12. When they're tired of banging on people, they're going to need something. And you, as a coach, you're always looking for those hot buttons. So that's a huge one, right? You're playing against the best in the nation, the best player in the nation, and a supporting cast that, just won a national championship, and it's a great challenge. So yeah, we'll use that, no doubt. And if it wasn't that, I'd be using something else. As a coach, you always have to try to find a way to motivate and try to take them places they can't take themselves.
Was the rule change for the summer where you can observe some, was that significant enough?
Was for me, especially with counting on so many freshmen. There's going to be a lot of freshmen that play for us this year. More than it's been in my 8th season here. So that was invaluable. It was really good. We met with them weekly, hourly, and I came in off vacation times to get my hour in with them and get them as a group and teach and watch tape. So that was huge. It just gives you a little jump on fall camp. So now between what we did with them in the meeting room and them going out as a team and working on stuff on the field by themselves, it gave you a chance to work through some things. Maybe that's going to take 2 or 3 days in fall camp to see mistakes, and they'd come in that next week, Coach, what if this happens? And hey, they got us on this happened, and I didn't. So we got to work out those things. So yeah, it was invaluable. I'm glad we had it this year.
With that also, sometimes team chemistry is underrated, and maybe you don't get to see that until you get in the course of the season to see how well everybody's getting along. But could you get a sense some of the chemistry part of it too?
Yeah, you hope you do, but I don't want to, I don't want to just be fooled and think. To me, in my mind, I still have no idea until we line up that first day, and then until we get to the first scrimmage, how they're going to respond. It's just hard to say until they're all on pads and they're all, they're getting their fits right and their eyes are right and the coverages and the play action pad where it's all together. You just don't know. And so I'm uneasy about that. I'm anxious about that. It's a challenge to me. I stay awake because of that. But I was awake last year because of other issues. So it's always something. I mean, it's not real fun for me.
Have you ever had a
Do you like
season?
your job?
Have you ever had a season with?
Sometimes you don't. I mean, I like it for about 10 minutes after Saturday after a win. And besides that, it's a grind. It's a stress. But you're called to do things for other reasons besides liking something.
Have you ever had so much newness and unknown as you seem like you have this year?
Never.
What's that feel like?
it's challenging. It's just another. You know what I'm talking about? You throw things out there to motivate the players. As a person, I think you get up every day and you look to yourself for things to motivate you for that day. And so this is just something to motivate me to be the best leader I can for these kids. And if it wasn't that experience, I'd be coming up with another reason that I've got to give them all for them today. And to try to get them to experience great things and to be good men of character and integrity. It's just another angle to do that. And I'll use it. I'll use that for motivation for myself when I get out of bed every day to try to be the best leader I can for them.